Welcome to another triathlon podcast, the podcast that brings the electrifying world of triathlons right into your headphones. Journey into captivating conversations, share the excitement of race recaps, enjoy the humor only a triathlete would understand, and join us as we debunk myths and bring you the bare, thrilling truths of the triathlon world. So feel your heart pound, breathe in anticipation, and get ready to dive into the world of triathlon. This is another triathlon podcast. Enjoy the ride.
We are back with another episode of another triathlon podcast brought to you by Mana Endurance. We're going to have some fun this week, as always, going over some of the race results. We'll have our What the F and social media posts of the week. And there's been a couple interesting announcements recently from Ironman between the Pro Series, and now just coming out today, actually, is a new qualification for women to go to Nice in 2024. So we will dive into all of that. And, I wanted to see what you guys think, but I think we got to talk a little bit about the Sam Laidlow post in there as well, with some interesting call-outs for other pro athletes and the current situation with him. But we will dive into all of it. Let's get started. Let's get going. Josh, how are things going with you?
I am ready to go. That's
perfect.
It's been a good little in-between two marathon build, and now into a taper. I had a nice long-ish run outside yesterday, and the way I've built a track outside, I've been able to go right into a good hill climb. And that's kind of the way the course is. So kind of doing exactly the way it's going to be on Sunday, and did a little bit more of a hill climb than I thought. I did about 800 feet in elevation yesterday, but it made for coming home a lot faster and a lot easier, and my heart rate liked it. And I'm excited. I'm as healthy as can be, which was not the case going into the last marathon. The temperatures are better, although they are going up on the forecast in DC. So we're looking at a potential high of 80 on Sunday. But by the time I start and hopefully finish, it shouldn't get there yet. And humidity's down, way down from what it was the last time. So I'm just excited because after that, we get to go to Disney and celebrate. I get to go, I'm going to Disney.
Yay!
And do a little half marathon down there with my wife.
Nice.
And bring our daughter down there the weekend after. And from there, it's triathlon time.
Love it. Yeah, that'll be a fun recovery period afterwards. Kind of cruise around, enjoy Disney, take your mind off the pain of having just run a marathon.
Yeah. And it's super flat. We looked at the course today, and it's like Disney's literally just a flat run around so it'll be fun, but that's at 5 a.m. So
bright and early. Oh, man.
And then the party that you have access to at Epcot goes until 1 o'clock that night. I was like, oh God.
What?
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah. 5 a.m. race. And then you have access to the park at 5 p.m. to start.
Yeah.
So it's you can be there from 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. So we'll see. Depends on how good our teenager is behavior-wise, how much we do that. Her 16th birthday is on the line here. It depends on how many kids she can invite.
There we go. It was fun. Actually, one of the things I noticed in Kona they had an after party that they were advertising the day after the Ironman. It started at 9:30 p.m. I'm like, know your audience.
Who makes that?
At 9:30 the day after an Ironman. Come on.
No. Yeah.
We had my nieces over this weekend. My daughter was at a sleepover, so we had my nieces over because their parents were going out. Just to a friend's house, and they were going to get picked up around 10 or 10:30. And another friend of us was celebrating her 40th birthday. She's like, just come over to my house after. And I was like, wait, what? All right. This is the sign. We are officially old. We're getting asked to go out at 10 or 10:30. It's we hadn't even thought about what we were doing that night normally, but now it's 10 or 10:30 to leave the house. No way.
No, who does that? Oh man, fun times. Hey Fede, let's jump in with you. How's training racing life going with you?
Just reminded me, Josh, I did the Dopey Challenge back in 2022, and that was fun. But no energy whatsoever for after parties or anything like that.
Explain the Dopey Challenge first, though, Fede, because some people might not know what that is, because that's a little more epic than what I'm doing.
A little dopey. So the Dopey Challenge for our listeners happens in January in Disney World. I'm always confused. Which one's Walt Disney World and which one's Disney World? The one in Florida. Um,
Disney
and
World.
Disney World, right? And what they do is they have a couple of races. They have a 5K, a 10K, a half, and a full. And you can sign up to, however many races you want to, or you can sign up to do the whole thing. From the 5K to the full marathon. And that thing is called the Dopey Challenge. So you run a 5K on Thursday, a 10K on Friday, a half on Saturday, and then a marathon on Sunday, which, it's fun because every mile or so there is a Disney character and you can just stop by and take pictures and treat it as like a shakeout type of day, which is what I did. But you know what? The thing that gets you is all the walking in the parks the days
Yeah.
of the race. So, you're running a 5K and then you're putting in, an extra 21 Ks of walking in the parks. So it's usually a lot of, it's pretty taxing. So, but fun, very, very fun. So yeah, but that one I just did for fun. And training wise, like I said last week, there's been a lot of VO2 work, and I actually almost threw up last Thursday. That feeling when you can feel the taste of blood in the back of your throat and you're almost like making the sound. Sorry for those who are listening while eating, but
You're really making it sound appealing. Like everyone's going to want to do VO2 work after this.
it's a necessary evil. That's the way I tell my athletes. It's a necessary evil that we all need to go through, and the sooner we get it over with, the better. And yeah, it's always gonna make your engine bigger and more efficient. So yeah, dreading the days, and hopefully, well, I have a couple of weeks left of VO2 work, but after that, we're gonna transition a bit into more tempo, zone 2 type of thing. So really looking forward towards that.
Awesome. Now, it's definitely fun to mix it up once in a while and kind of change up the energy system. But yeah, VO2 and threshold, it's not my favorites. So guess what I'm doing?
Painful.
A ton of VO2 and threshold work.
There you go. Welcome to the club.
Oh, I'm going to be right there with you. Yeah, I just got like an update from my coach today of what this week we'll kind of look at. So my coach writes my training like 1 to 2 days in advance. So I don't know what's coming. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow, but I saw some paces. He has like an outline of it. I'm like, oh, really? Okay, sure.
Fun.
But yeah, basically the next 3 weeks is going to be short, like zone 6 work for 10 to 40 second intervals and a lot of threshold work, which I love the short, sharp, like all out stuff. Threshold, not so much, not my favorite. But my next race coming up is Laguna Phuket Duathlon in Thailand, and it's going to be a 2.5 mile run. I think it's like 34-mile bike and then a 7.5 mile run in 90 degrees and all the humidity. So we're going
while training in the snow.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Training in the snow.
Today. Like it is currently snowing outside.
Jesus.
I did not think this through whatsoever.
I'm wearing shorts right now, Jenna.
Oh, don't tell me that. Oh.
Yeah, I was making Jenna feel better wearing the beanie cap.
Yeah.
And I posted the forecast on my Instagram and I kept getting messages from people like, oh, I'm in Florida. It's like 80 degrees. It's like, oh, I'm in Phoenix in the sun. I'm like, oh, come on. Why do I live here? But yeah, lots of sauna work, lots of no fan work. My treadmill freaked out because I did a 15-mile run with no fan and a little up in here, and it didn't like that. I'm like, I don't like this, but my treadmill likes it even less. So had to end up sticking a fan on my treadmill belt and computer and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's, you know what, it's fun to switch it up and do something a little bit different. Not ideal training for Indian Wells 70.3 because we're definitely going very short, mostly threshold work, but Indian Wells is going to be more of a fun to meet up with the team and just get out on course more than anything.
But you've got the endurance base. So this type of training is really going to make you faster and stronger for the next round of endurance training too, right?
Yeah,
So you're expecting
sure.
to be able to push it in the shorter course type work. And then when it gets time for 70.3, you build that endurance with some new zones that maybe are a little
Yeah,
higher.
kind of going there. Yeah, we'll see. Indian Wells, I think I'm mostly going to be working the expo and kind of hanging out with everyone.
Yeah.
But
Hanging out at the parties late night.
totally. Honestly, that'll be the race part. Escape the snow, and that is my Indian Wells target. Get out of the snow, have some fun. But yeah, you know what? It's exciting, changing it up a little bit. And next year, I've mentioned on here, is going to be mostly duathlon racing and short course. So it's fun, scary, intimidating looking at some of the paces that I have to get to be competitive there. But I have never not done long or middle distance triathlons in a year. It's always been kind of the goal of long distance or Ironman kind of things. So yeah, fun to change it up and see what I can do with some actual speed work. So looking forward to that and definitely feeling reinvigorated, and decided that this was the perfect time to renovate my pain cave and change a bunch of things and do all of that. So it's been a little hectic around here, but it's, yeah, got to get prepared for the long winter of all the indoor training, and some fresh paint and moving things around, getting a little bit more organized is getting me inspired for that. It should be good. But
Awesome.
we are going to jump in here. We got lots to talk about. And it sounds like there was actually some fun racing on the weekend. Fede, why don't you tell us what was going on here?
Right. Yeah. So we had a couple of races happening over the weekend. First up, we had Ironman Portugal, which I mean, this looks like an amazing race. I really wanna race this next year probably. Well, we'll see. But let's start with the girls. On the women's side, we had Marjolaine Pierre, who's the partner of I forgot his name. Well, another French guy. She won her first Ironman in 8:49. Second place was Annie Richman, and in third place was Olivia Mitchell. And this was like Marjorie just took the race from the start and just rode away everyone. There was nobody catched her on the bike, so that was very good to see. She's a really strong cyclist, and I believe she's aiming next year's world champs, which for the girls are going to be up in Nice. So it's definitely a course that suits her. You know, she's a very lightweight athlete. She's probably great great climber, and she's a fantastic runner. She faded a bit towards the end. She ran a 3-hour flat marathon, which for today's standards is not super fast, but then again, not super slow either. Over the men's side, we had Peter Himmerich, who has been having an amazing year, especially over the PTO races. He clocked a 750. Second place was Dylan Magnian in 752. And in third place, Antonio Benito Lopez in 754. And there was a bit of drama on this race because race favorite Patrick Lange from Germany, everybody was talking about him and how he's going to run the fastest marathon ever over the Ironman distance, new super shoe, you know, the new Adidas, super lightweight and everything. But Patrick did what probably Jenna and I have done at a race. He dismounted and went to the 70.3 bike racks. So he spent quite a bit of time over there trying to figure out where his bike rack was and his shoes and everything. And it wasn't until they told him, "Hey, guy, you're in the wrong transition," that he that he managed to pull it together, and he finished, I think, fourth or fifth. But it happens to the best of the world. So don't be ashamed if sometimes you go to the wrong transition area or to the wrong bike rack.
That is brutal. He should have done what some of the age groupers do, tie on a bright colored ribbon or try to locate where his spot is.
Yeah, a balloon with an orange balloon with his race number.
Oh, that's a shame. Yeah, it would have been cool to see what he would actually do out there. Um,
Yeah.
no, that sucks, especially when you prepare as a pro for an Ironman like that, and just to have something like that, just something silly like that go on. Not, oh, that sucks.
Yeah, 100%. And then we had another race, Vieux in France, and this was an amazing showdown between Mika Nut and Mathis Marger from France. Matthias got the better of Mika, and currently 70.3 world champion Rico Bogen finished in third place. But the highlight of the race was the sprint finish between Mathis and Mika, and
Yeah,
we just saw Mika hanging in there, and he just you can see what was going through his mind. Like his brain was sending the signals of move your legs faster, but the legs didn't turn as fast as he wanted to, and then he just collapsed maybe like 3-4 meters before the finish line. And it was an amazing race to watch.
that is brutal. Like, just I know that feeling so well too, where your head is just like keep moving it. Your legs start doing these all sorts of funky things, and they're just not moving how you want them to. It looks like he just stumbles and face plants on there, and they're not moving slowly at that point either. So probably a bit burn on that fall.
Yeah, that was definitely a painful fall. For sure.
And Mika even like looked over his shoulder, and he literally he knew he was coming, and he had no gear. He had no gear left.
Yeah.
He had mentally he was no there. Gear. His body wouldn't cooperate.
And he led the whole race too. I mean, and lost with a yard to go.
Yeah, I mean 3:38.10 for Mathis and 3:38.11 for Mika. So just that face plant costed him 1 second.
Yeah, and that was another one of those races we've been seeing back-to-back racing from Alistair Brownlee. Is starting to get on the Blumenfeld schedule, but sounds like he just wasn't quite feeling 100% on that one and called it a little bit early. So hopefully it's not feeling good and not injuries playing up again. It'd be fun to see him actually competing next year in Kona.
Absolutely. I think right now Ali wants to race himself into a good shape to a point where he can build next season upon. So happy to see him racing. But I think next year we're going to see a completely different Alistair Brownlee. And it's going to be exciting. We're going to see Brownlee. We're going to see Gomez. So it's promising. I think if Jan does not return next year, we're going to have a lot to talk about between these two.
Well, and just next year could be so interesting, especially with Ironman kind of rewrote some of the qualification standards for Kona, even in the race, and some of the we'll dive more into the women's side, but on the pro race side, it seems like now they have a lot more leeway to allocate spots as they want to the athletes. So, if a Jan decides he wants to jump in, or a Blumenfeld or Eden decide post-Olympics, they're going to give it a go. Ironman has written into the rules they have a lot more leeway to do stuff like that, which would definitely make that race very, very interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely, we need to talk about that new qualification policies that Ironman has, put together. But over the women's side on this race, we had Caroline Paul taking the win. Second place, Imogen Simmons, who, she's been on fire over the middle distance race. Yeah, she's been racing along recently. So, she's always on the podium recently. So good on her. And on third place, we had Charlene Clavel. But this was not eventful, unlike the sprint finish that we saw between Mika and Mathis. But good racing over the weekend.
That's great to see. At least we still got some racing going on before things start to slow down a little bit. It sounds like with the new Pro Series happening, things are going to ramp up pretty quickly in the new year, with Oceanside being where most of the pros are going to be starting off their season, because it is a points getter. That race is going to be absolutely stacked. I could see having 100 pro men, 100 pro women out there just all buying those points in there. So stoked for that, but we will take what we can get over the next few months with a bit of racing all over the world as pros kind of get ready for the next season and this new qualification.
Yeah, absolutely. We also had Ironman California. That was that was an amazing race to watch. And special shout out to Coach Gu. He clocked
Crushed it.
an amazing 8:30 something. So, and he doesn't want me to talk about this, but I think it's important. He wasn't feeling 100% leading into the race. He even considered not starting. But then he pulled a Blumenfeld and just put together a very, very impressive race. Sub 3 hours flat for the marathon. So, you know, uh, amazing. So shout out to Goog, to Chris, to all the mono athletes who raced. Hope winning first Ironman and won her age group. So talk about overachievers, eh?
Definitely. That's the fun part about this Mana team is basically any race you show up at, there's going to be other team members out there and a whole bunch of people online following you, tracking you. The chat was going crazy with updates for everyone, and it's just so much fun. So if you guys are interested in joining the team, actually team applications end on October 31st. You can join us and come be a part of the fun, part of the community, and let me tell you some wicked sponsor discounts. So go check it out, Mana Endurance. Check it out on Instagram or manaendurance.com and see what it's all about. But talking about racing, were you going to say something, John?
Well, I was going to say that, and you don't have to be on the podiums, because I know we talk about a lot of our finishers that are always on the podium, but here I am trying to get up there, but I'm working my way there. And there's a lot of us on the team that are nowhere near getting to Kona qualifications or Nice qualifications, but we're looking to improve and be a part of an amazing community. And that part of it is such a huge factor in what I've come to learn and enjoy the most about the Mana team too. We talk about the accolades and things like that, but there's a ton of us out there that are improving from race to race and things like that too, that you might not see in the podiums, and it's very inspiring to watch some of these people like Hope doing her first Ironman, and others who maybe couldn't start, chasing down pros or not really pros in the Blues, finishing in under 8 hours. I mean, just amazing weekend to watch all of that across the board in 70.3 Arizona and in IM California.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even I'm coaching 2 athletes on the team this year that are going for their first triathlons next year. So it's definitely for all ability levels there. It's really just a lot of fun with this group. Well, let's chat a little bit. So this is breaking news with it just coming out from Ironman this morning. I saw this in my email and I was like, wait, what? So Ironman is going to be changing up the qualification for women for the Ironman World Championships in Nice next year. So this year it was a little bit of a, who knows, roll down, handout slots to run in there between, they had allocated spots for the normal spots for races, and then they had the women for try extra spots at certain races. And then they got down to sending out spots, kind of roll down from previous races as well. So next year, they're going to be changing it up. And there's a couple interesting things here. The thing that let's go over the ones that are not as surprising. So you're going to have the normal age group racing. There's going to be a number of allocated spots that you can accept, and they'll do the roll downs like normal. But then they're adding on to that with the women's age group ranked in invitational slots. So that'll be if you're at the top of the age group rankings internationally at the end of the year, and those lists will be firmed up in January. They will have a number of slots available for those top ranked athletes in each age group. Now, if you do accept a slot through that age group ranking, you will have to validate your spot by racing an Ironman in that calendar year before Nice. So that is something to consider if you are going to be on top of the age group rankings. Yes, you can get a slot to Nice, but you do have to validate it with another Ironman. The other slots they're going to have available is the top 10 finishers in each age group at the Ironman World Championships that just happened here. The top 10 in each age group will get an invitation as well. Again, you do need to do another Ironman next year to validate that spot. So, you have to do another Ironman, essentially. They're trying to get people to, race the races and fill up that Nice World Championships. But the one I found interesting was that they're also going to be doing invitational slots to 70.3s. So it's been, over the years, there's been a couple 70.3s, like the Hawaii one, where you can get a world championship spot. But they are going to be doing it now for certain races where female athletes who finish top 5 in their age group at select Ironman 70.3 events will be emailed an invitation to accept a slot to the Ironman World Championships in Nice, in addition to the 70.3 World Championship slot. Now, these ones don't roll down should the podium, the top 5 on that podium, not accept it. So you can see they're trying to, I guess, keep the caliber of athlete a little bit higher with some of these changes. But the thing I found interesting with the 70.3 one is there's no mention of needing to validate your spot with an Ironman next year. So that I found a little bit confusing. So if you've done an Ironman and done well in an Ironman, or if you're in the top rankings of Ironman, you have to validate your spot. But if you get it through the top 5 in a 70.3, maybe they just mistyped it, or it looks like right now you don't need to validate having done an Ironman. Any thoughts on that, guys?
I think they're looking to fill spots for Nice. And that's what it, like, if this was Kona I don't think you're going to see the same offering in the following year. That's just my guess. I think that it has to do with the location. I think I've been hearing, I had a friend who won her age group in Arizona this past weekend. She was first overall going into the run and ended up finishing 4th overall, which is amazing for somebody my age. I mean, we graduated Virginia Tech together. So, I mean, she's a beast when it comes to 70.3, but she's got a family and a young kid and a husband who works, and Taupo wasn't in the cards. So she let it go. And so that's another one of those spots where, like, New Zealand is not easy for everyone to say yes to and throw down money on the day of too. So I think they're opening up just some opportunities with some of these world championships not being so close to home for the North American body.
Yeah, which is still the largest percentage of athletes, even in Nice, country-wise, was North America.
Correct.
Even though it was over in Europe. Yeah, it's that 70.3 thing really has me scratching my head. So you might do your first Ironman at the World Championships, which is very cool, but to have a lot of athletes doing their first Ironman at the World Championships on the Nice course, that seems a little questionable. I understand they have to do the validation like the other qualification standards. Oh, what do you think, Fede?
I mean, not to sound again about, not to repeat what Josh said, but I think they're trying to fill up spots.
100%.
Like this is the same thing that happened in St. George back in 2021. We were getting emails. Hey, remember that Ironman you did in 1945? Do you want to go to St. George? Yeah. I don't think this would be the case if the world champs were in Kona again, and I definitely don't see that happening for us the men this year with the world champs being in Kona. So yeah, this is just a good old case of let's try to bring as many people as we can, and we don't care about the quality on the field, which it's nice, I guess. But it takes away a little bit of that pride of what it means to qualifying for world champs. It's like okay, over these 5 marathons, if you just finish them, you can go to Boston. No, there's a specific time, and people work hard towards that. Don't be soft. Just do things right. That's my take on it.
No, I think there's a safety issue involved too. When you start talking, I mean, the courses in Europe are not Kona flat and like a little bit of hill climbs in the desert. I mean, this is some crazy type descents and climbs and technical riding. And I mean, you got to know what you're doing. So I think that part of it scares me a little bit. And it doesn't matter who's riding. If you haven't done it enough, then it's not an easy trip, up or down. Yeah. So that part of it is something to question, I guess, as well. But I think we all know why they're doing it and what they're trying to do. And the big boys flexing their muscles again over the last few weeks, and they're here to stay.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what the uptake is on Nice. yeah, to see if the women will make their way over there, because again, just having those split days, it's really hard for any families that do Ironman, if both male and female have qualified out there. And yeah, it's a case of, in a lot of cases, a lot of women traveling overseas, like without their support team, makes it a lot harder because it is tough for people to travel over there. And it sounds like it's a much cheaper location compared to Kona, which is awesome. And it's absolutely beautiful. You can't go wrong going to France for a race. But I just, Kona was such a bucket list race for so many women, and I think that's why we were able to kind of fill up the field there and see over 2,000 women in Kona, which is the most that's ever participated in an Ironman at one time, which was absolutely incredible to see. But I just don't see the excitement so much being there for Nice when, especially still, you can sign up for the race for half the price earlier in the year and go do the course. Doesn't hold a lot of appeal. Now, I want to do that race in a couple years because I love a brutal bike course, but it's not everyone thinks that way with these Ironmans.
Now, California, on the other hand, was just another one we all put on our list. Like, oh, wow, that swim. They were all swimming faster than we swim at 70.3.
Oh, those swim times are insane. Oh, my God. Need to do that one.
Yeah.
Sounds like fast bike course and run too. Talk about PR City.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see how this goes and get some of the feedback from athletes as we go along here. Either way, it'd be kind of cool to say that your first Ironman is the World Championships. Kind of a neat thing. But yeah, we'll see how it goes in there. But let's talk something a little bit more controversial, just slightly. Did you guys see that post from Sam Laidlow by chance?
No. I mean, no. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, it's super underground. No, like barely anyone noticed it.
He's best friends with the Von Bergs.
Right?
With his godfather. The Von Bergs are his godfather.
Right? Oh my goodness. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I was actually just looking to see if it's still up there, but I don't see it.
No, he said he was gonna put it into his archive or whatever. So it's not.
Okay.
We can't see it until he takes off the locks or whatever he has done to the post.
And there he was. He showed up at like a challenge family race this weekend. He was handing out medals and
yeah. So if you guys haven't heard, if you're not as into the geeky triathlon world as much as we are and obsessed, Sam Laidlow kind of came out and announced that he's under investigation by the International Testing Agency for alleged anti-doping allegations. He did it in an odd way. He posted on Instagram to announce the investigation, saying, "Today I'm disgusted. Today I'm saddened. I've poured my heart and soul into my performances and my recent world title. I know who I am, and I'm willing to expose all my past medical exams and blood passports." But he goes even further in that and starts naming athletes who he now has, I guess, a grudge against, or that had spoken out against him with things that they had heard or been witness to, where that's probably not the best way to go about all of this. Really, if you are under investigation, I know it has to be frustrating to have people like saying these things about you and you want to speak out against it, but you go from something that nothing's proven, they're doing their investigation in the background, to the whole triathlon world is gossiping and talking about it. So I don't think he quite went to the PR team, or maybe doesn't have one in here, when this started to pop up, and then starting to name other athletes and turn your audience, I guess, against them probably wasn't the best way to go about it. So it was a bit of a storm on social media when he did make that announcement. What did you guys think about this announcement and everything going on here? It was kind of, an interesting way for this to come out, because I know there have been rumors and gossip and a whole lot of stuff around Sam Laidlow, so it's interesting to see that there is an investigation going on.
I mean, it's a very tricky situation because, like you said, Jenna, and I'm sure Josh can touch on it as well. Why do you have to defend yourself if nobody has said anything yet? Like, I don't know. Just the whole situation is very confusing to me. And he on his argument he mentions Marjorie Pierre and her partner Clement Mignon, which now the name came to my head. Uh, those guys even appeared in his documentary that was published like a couple of weeks ago. They were training buddies, and now he is enemies with them. I don't know. It just it gives a lot to think. Uh, yeah,
Yeah, and I think the reason why they were named in there, it's not that they went out and went after them. It was that ITA started asking them questions. Of
yeah,
course, you need to
right.
answer their questions, right? It's not like they went out with malicious intent and said, "We're going to get this guy." It was like, okay, they're coming
I
to
don't
us and
know.
asking situations, so you
Yeah,
want to follow.
apparently it was because you want to comply with the authorities, to the best of your ability. And apparently it was because of a joke that Sam's girlfriend
Yeah.
said, and then maybe it got blew out of proportion, or they didn't understood that it was sarcasm, or I don't know.
Mhm.
God, this is very complicated because we have a chat, and I don't put my hands in the fire for anyone because I don't live with the athletes. I don't know what they're taking, what they're not taking. But I follow cycling very closely, and to me, I said to you guys that seems like every cyclist that has been accused of doping. The argument that he gave out, that's exactly what every other cyclist has said. So, well, I don't know. It's just all very confusing and tricky. What were your thoughts, Josh?
I mean, along the same lines, it's one of those things that I think we all kind of saw or heard might be coming, but there's so many accusations right now, and it's so hard to tell. And I think we saw some other reports about the percentages at Ironmans in Germany and how many athletes tested positive or announced that they use certain substances or whatever it may be. It's tough when it starts at the top, but that's where it needs to start if there's a problem throughout the sport. To me, it's difficult because look, I'm trying to reinvigorate a athletic career at the age of 45 now, and never even think about things like that. It's like, all right, what's the best supplement, like athletic greens or creatine gummies, and like things that are just over the counter you buy off. I mean,
Creatine gummies.
like just little simple things like to save a few watts, right? That stuff just doesn't even cross my mind. So it's like I'm always blown away when you guys come up with, oh, here's another person. And it's just like it's mind boggling to me this day and age that people are just blatantly doing things like that when there's so many other ways to work hard, train smarter, and get those same results without having to spend years defending yourself.
Yeah, and you know what? I think everyone's a little bit more sensitive to this topic after the whole Colin Chartier doping
Yeah,
scandal that went on earlier this year. Because, I think in general in triathlon, like we want to believe at the top end it is fairly clean. Like there's
yeah,
definitely athletes who are playing in the gray zone, and but I think overall triathlon, I have to believe, at least the pro level, is fairly clean at this point. So I think Sam went the wrong way in kind of
yeah,
announcing this. That could have been done a lot better. Um, but I think the positive out of all this is that they are looking for doping. They are questioning people. They are following up investigations. I know it's a terrible thing for Sam right now that he's having to go through this, but I think it is a good thing that that things are being investigated. They actually are doing things. So now Sam could absolutely be entirely clean, and this has to be heartbreaking to have people accusing you of things that you're not doing. But I think
yeah,
it is good to have this conversation in the forefront, and seeing the reactions to these anti-doping allegations or convictions and stuff, showing that, everyone is so outraged because we still believe it's possible to do this clean. And I think that's very, very key for the pro athletes who are up and coming, who are at the top, that know,
yeah.
I can still compete in the sport at the highest level clean. So at least the conversations are happening. I guess that's one positive out of all of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, and I think we're all for the conversation. I think what he is specifically upset about is how that conversation was started and the accusations coming from specific people and it being not really understood or they just took an opportunity. So we'll find out whether it was an opportunity or not, and overhearing things the way they wanted to or what was actually said. So I think that's the part of the discussion that really irked him. If they had a reason to investigate, then go ahead. But somebody saying something, that's a little bit of hearsay.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of it actually stemmed from an email that Rudy von Berg's father sent out to a large number of people, apparently, making some allegations and starting to talk about Sam Laidlaw, which that's another thing. If you're, I guess, the parent of a currently racing athlete, should be getting involved in all of this without proof.
That's also weird. Very wrong. Yeah, it's like, hey, Dad, they're picking on me. Could you please tell them to shut up? No. Yeah. I don't want to play with you guys anymore. I'll take my football and I'm going to go home. No, just...
man. Yeah, no, it's so bizarre, but it definitely needs a PR. Sam Laidlaw needs a PR person because anyone would say, like, I can understand the emotion and the frustration of this coming up, especially if you are clean in there. But that's not the way to handle it. We want it to be a professional sport, and so much less attention would have been paid to this unless something came of it. Like, this could have just been rumors and rumblings within the super industry people. He brought it entirely to the forefront, so now everyone's going to be asking about it, talking about it. It could be something where his name gets entirely cleared and there was no issue, but now he put kind of that suspicion on himself a little bit, I guess. It was just not a great way to go about it, but I can imagine it's very emotional having those allegations being laid towards you.
Yeah, and it was a very interesting week because earlier on, there was a post that we shared that apparently 1 out of 7 athletes admitted to doping or some form of doping during an Ironman triathlon. And then a few days later, the SAM allegations come up. So it seems like we need to start having the conversation of we need to stop. Well, I think this is a very sad reality, but we need to stop thinking that our sport is completely clean. There's cheaters in every sport. Why should ours be the only one outside of the norm? And I think that conversations need to start happening and for the sport to be cleaner, because it's never going to be completely clean. That's, for as long as there's competition in sports, there's going to be people willing to bend the rules and cheat. So I think that this is actually good for the sport because it takes the blindfold off our eyes and makes us realize that this is not the cleanest of sports and it's never going to be. But as long as we do our part and we catch the bad guys or the bad apples, then we might have a somewhat cleaner sport.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the thing with that, I think that came out I've seen that come up a few times over the years. It's been out there for a while, this study, and it was age group athletes that they were talking to with that report in there.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of things where I think there's a percentage of the field that is doping and doesn't know it. Just taking medications that doctors prescribed or they've been told they need kind of thing. But then there absolutely is a portion of the age group population that is doping for the sake of performance benefits. But I actually think it's more rampant in the age groups than it is the pro field, to be honest.
Which is also super sad. Like, why would you dope as an age grouper? Like, come on.
That's exactly what I was talking about. It's like, what is that all about? What are you gaining?
Yeah.
I mean, at least Roger Clemens got millions of dollars for it, but what do you get? A t-shirt and a hat?
I mean, but you get to have the first t-shirt, maybe.
There you go.
Absolutely ridiculous. Like, that just drives me crazy to see that age group athletes are doping to try to get a spot or two better. It's like, how do you feel good about yourself with something like that.
You have to carry it. So God bless him.
Crazy. Yeah. Well, let's move on to some more positive stuff. I should have mentioned that was my what the F, but it was just quite the discussion, and a lot of the pros weighed in. So I'm actually kind of bummed that it's not there anymore, just because there were so many interesting pro reactions on there as well. A lot of people started to chime in too, so it would have been fun to kind of read through some of those. But we will move on to more positive stuff. Josh, tell me something. You've got something more fun for the social media post.
We had a few social media posts this week that I was thinking about. Yeah. So I followed a little bit. I've been following, and if you don't follow, and this isn't my post yet, but if you don't follow Jan Frodeno and everything he's posting, like, you want to talk about positivity and loving life and doing things the right way. Everything he's doing in retirement is just like, it gives me FOMO. Like, I want to get on a gravel bike and go ride in the mountains in Europe right now. It's like every day the man's making an amazing coffee. He's getting up, he's riding through the hills, he's coming back and hanging out with his family. It's like, so follow Jan. They had an awesome, the Esquirrel 100. I mean, that was a really cool event that happened over the weekend, and a lot of that benefits and donates to the Frodeno Fund. But the post for this week, if you happen to catch anyone who was riding in or at the Hincapie Gran Fondo in South Carolina this weekend, you probably saw this post. But if not, we'll post it. It's Dr. Edwin Gonzalez Montoya was out riding. It was a shakeout ride before the actual event. So they were out for like a 40, 50 mile shakeout in the hills. And all of a sudden they're riding along, and a deer, full-size buck, jumps across the entire road right in front of this guy going 20, 25 miles an hour. And you can see the riders in front turn and look back. And this guy, he happened to have a GoPro on. And so there's screenshots. There's the full video. We'll post his Instagram there, because the reel is up there. When I first checked it, I think there's maybe 400 views. When I just looked, it's finally up over 10,000 now. So it's starting to get some virality to it. But it is like, I mean, it could be a WTF moment and a social media moment. But it's a pretty epic moment in cycling history for sure.
Craziness. Holiness. You never know what you're going to get kind of riding out in the mountains and some of the hills in there. It's just always insane. Actually, one of the Canadian pros here hit a bear one time. Going downhill on his bicycle, hit a bear. Like,
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, that smashed up the bike pretty good, and he had some.
I was going to say, talk about launch angle.
Oh, insane. It is. Yeah, there's definitely some beautiful riding in the mountains, but you never quite know what you're going to get. So I'm glad that one ended well. And it was just kind of a crazy kind of moment.
And kudos, you remind me too. I mean, there was some other, I mean, there were so many posts and stuff that I saw this weekend, and everything's so inspiring. We talk about it in the chat with the team and everything. And I also saw, speaking of a crash, this was like the 1 year anniversary from Frumpy Cobb's crash at St. George, where he got hit by the drunk driver. And here he is doing his second 70.3 since and crushing it. I mean, he's out there almost breaking 5 hours, I think, this weekend. So it's like unbelievable, some of the inspiring stories. I mean, coming back from almost losing his arm and life, and now still doing 70.3. So, A, be careful while you're out there. B, keep going.
Absolutely. Oh, I love to hear it. Love to see those inspiring stories. And, that's something that our sport definitely highlights, is some of that grit and determination. And you know what? Sometimes things happen, sometimes things don't go your way. And it's definitely more in the triathlete mindset that you just keep moving forward, get it done. And it's very, very cool to see. So.
And I think
Jenna and I slammed Cassandra Bogard, though.
What's that?
Yeah,
we nailed the Cassandra Bogard.
We did, yeah. Unfortunately, things didn't quite go to plan for Hayden Wild. We both thought would take the win there, but Super NEOM. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch that race. It was an epic one. We have brand new Super League champions, which is always fun to see. And man, MG owes Hayden Wild a lot of beers for not giving him that short shoot.
The looks he was getting before Hayden even finished too. It's like, you got to be.
So it was a crazy day. The format was the enduro, where they do swim, bike, run 3 times in a row, back to back to back. And it was in NEOM, which is basically everything that exists there is just kind of put up for the weekend. They have an airport now, so that makes it easier. But
I mean, it's like the future, Dubai? I mean, it's kind of what they're building.
They're kind of with this crazy, like, wall city kind of thing, which is pretty cool to look at. But this race course is basically water, desert, and you ride and run around the desert after coming out of the water. And it looks like it was crazy hot, crazy windy. And yeah, it looked like definitely some interesting racing. And in both the men's and the women's races, it was basically whoever wins will be the overall champion, which is pretty crazy. We don't often see it come down to that, to the wire. Like usually there's someone in front at this point, but there definitely wasn't. It was very cool to see. I guess we should say the overall winners here.
So we had Leo, right?
Leo
Berger, Kate Waugh.
Kate Waugh.
Kate Waugh.
Yeah. She's going to be like, the British woman got to watch out now, because she is definitely coming into her own very quickly going into an Olympic year. She's been absolutely crushing it.
Absolutely. And shout out to our friend of the pod, Chase McQueen, for taking home a nice little $15,000 check too with his points, and another real tried squad getting the swim points. I mean, you 18-year-old kid walking away with $15,000.
I mean, that's not bad. And then they're going to have the team bonuses as well. Yeah. So some of these kids are walking away with some decent checks after that weekend. It is very, very cool to see.
Which is why we wanted to have on Race Chase and have on Parker Spencer, just to kind of highlight the things that they're doing for the future of the sport. And those 2 kids walking away with checks was a very good sign of what they're doing and the fact that it's working. And they're okay not winning the team competition yet, but they're building something, which is really cool.
No, and they definitely have the youngest team out there, and just what a cool opportunity for these up-and-coming athletes to be in the vicinity of world champions, Olympians, and just names in the sport, and see what that.
Let alone playing poker on the bus with Christian Blumenfeld.
Right?
There you go.
So, and at the end of and then we had a total upset on the team's points chase. The RTP Sharks were in the lead the entire series until the last race, where unfortunately Julie Dillon wasn't there, who usually is, and we ended up switching up. The Santerra Tech Eagles ended up taking the top spot, followed by the Bahrain Victoria Scorpions, and then the Sharks and the Warriors in 4th there. And then we had the series discipline winners. On the women's side, on the swim, it was Sophie Caldwell. On the bike, it was Jess Fulliger. And on the run, it was Jeanne Lahair. So everyone is getting some pretty decent checks after that weekend. They have some crazy bonuses for the team. So everyone is going to be enjoying some celebrations this week, I'm sure.
Nice.
Well, we will see some more Super League racing next year. I think it's going to ramp up a fair bit after the Olympics, when the athletes are going to want to, just go hard after all the stress and buildup of the Olympics. There'll be energy to burn, I'm sure.
100%.
Awesome. Well, as always, thank you guys. Thanks for coming on and chatting, and we will be back next week. If you haven't, go give the podcast a follow. If you give us a rating, that would be awesome, and follow us on at Another Triathlon Podcast. And don't forget, come join us on the Mana Endurance team. Applications are open until October 31st. And if you put in Another Triathlon Podcast, I can guarantee you'll get entry there. So come join us, send in your application. We can't wait to see you on the team.
Yep.
Have a good week, everyone.
Have a good night, guys.
Have fun.